Well, hello everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Michelle Petroselli, and I'm the Accreditation Coordinator at CAHME. Today, I'll be reviewing why the annual report is an important part of the accreditation process, and I'll also be introducing our new online tool that will simplify the annual report process for you guys. Okay, so here is my email address if you should ever need to contact me. I will also post the contact information at the end of the presentation as well. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing the following topics. First, I'll review the purpose of CAHME's annual report and why it's an integral part of CAHME's accreditation process. Next, we'll review the current changes to the annual report data as well as the process, which will lead us to the introduction of CAHME's new online tool, or online annual report editor, CARE. I'll also be showing you how to access your account. So how to log in, how to enter data, and how to save and review data as well. I'll also be walking through the timeframes for when the annual report will be due for the accredited, certified, and candidate programs. At the end of the presentation, there'll be time for any questions that you may have. So if you think of any questions during the presentation, please write it down or type it into the chat box in Zoom, and they will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Okay, so the annual survey is conducted in the fall every year, and it is a critical part of being an accreditor. It is how CAHME ensures that programs continue to meet CAHME standards. Therefore, the annual report is required of every accredited or certified program. And new this year, the board passed policies that state that programs in candidacy will need to complete at least 2 years worth of data on the annual report as well. Now, programs that don't submit on the timelines will see late fees, and if not submitted at all, can have their accreditation revoked. So make sure to put this in. And it is also required of CAHME by the Council on Higher Education Accreditation, CHEA. CHEA and the U.S. Department of Education require accreditors to make data such as outcomes and site visit results available publicly. And in addition, think tanks such as the Institute for Higher Education Policy, IHEP, and the Lumina Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are focused on higher education outcomes and transparency as well. The data gathered on our annual report process is published in CAHME's advanced search tool, so on our own website. And this is accessible through the homepage. The data collected in our annual report has really helped serve the public. The annual report also aligns with our 5 core values. CAHME's 5 core values are integrity, excellence, transparency, fairness, and recognition. For integrity, the data collected in the annual report ensures from year to year that there is no significant changes in a program that might compromise the quality of the program deemed to be sufficient enough to earn a CAHME accreditation. Excellence, the data collected in the annual report also allows programs to benchmark their data to other programs, which we hope may be the impetus for improvement. Transparency. The data from the annual report is used for public reporting, as is required by the U.S. Department of Education and CHEA, and for greater transparency of outcomes and comparative performance. Fairness. All programs are required to report this data. There are no exceptions. We also work to make sure that the data is readily comparable and that the data is submitted in a timely manner as well. And finally, recognition. The data gathered in the annual report enables our accredited programs, certified programs in HQS, and programs in candidacy to be publicly recognized on CAHME's website. And this is also in our advanced search tool. Okay, so to discuss the changes in the annual report. In the past 2 years, CAHME gathered data through SurveyMonkey, moving from the cumbersome and expensive liaison or e-accreditation. On our website, you'll see it as last. To simplify more this year, CAHME developed an online tool for self-reporting and editing, for editing the data on the annual report. And we named the tool CARE, short for CAHME Annual Report Editor. Now remember, this is a first generation tool. So be patient as we work with you to create a better process. We piloted this new online tool with a couple programs, and with some practice, completing the report became fairly straightforward. Now this year, there are also some data changes with the annual report. As stated in the bulletin sent to all program directors at the end of June, some data points are no longer required. So you will no longer need to report the GRE and GMAT scores. You will also no longer need to report the 25th and 75th percentile of GPA of newly enrolled students. Remember, you will need to continue to report minimum GPA required to be enrolled and the median GPA of newly registered students. The other changes on the annual report also include the satisfaction of graduates, and we also updated placement data positions. Now, please consult important updates on our webpage at CAHME.org in the Annual Report 2021 section, which is highlighted here. Okay, now to introduce CARE. CAHME developed CARE in order to simplify the survey process. It allows programs to, 1, print off their annual report data. 2, allows programs to open and close different report sections. 3, it shows historical responses for comparison to aid in entry of current data. And then 4, it gives programs the ability to enter data for the most recent year and edit previous year's data as well. Another feature of CARE is that it's built to directly interface with the public data on CAHME's advanced search tool. The annual report data entered in CARE will be published live on CAHME's website. Now, not all the data is public because some of the data is related to CAHME's internal controls and management review of your program. Also note that only accredited, certified, and candidate programs will have their data public on our search tool. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through the following steps on how to access CARE. We're going to review the login process, preparation of data, the data entry process, and then how to save and review the data. Okay, first, to access CARE, go to CAHME.org. On the website, you'll click on the Accreditation Management bar, which will show you a drop-down menu. At the very bottom of that drop-down menu is the CARE icon. You'll click on the icon, and that will lead you to the CARE login page, right here. Now, once you get to the login page, follow these steps to log into your program's annual report homepage. Now, to avoid any issues or frustration while logging in, please do not copy and paste emails, passwords, or program codes into the login boxes. The program will only accept responses that are typed directly into the login boxes. So once again, don't type or don't copy and paste, but type in the boxes directly. Okay, well, let's begin. So first, you will type in the director ID, which will be your program director email. Note that each program will be given only one account or login credential. So for example, if your university has 2 programs accredited or certified with CAHME, such as one MS program and one MHA program, you'll have 2 accounts. And these 2 accounts, though originally given the same director ID and password, will have two different program codes, which brings me to our next step, where you will type in your program's unique code. Each code has 5 characters, and each code contains contains numbers and letters. You may notice that as you begin typing in your program code, that a drop-down menu of programs will appear. Now, you may click on your program's name if you see it, or if you don't, just continue typing in that 5 character program code. Next, you'll type in your password, which you will be able to personalize once you log in for the first time. And I'll be showing you how to personalize your password in the coming slides. Next, you'll click on the CAPTCHA box. This is a security step that allows our website to differentiate between bots and authentic users in order to stop spammers from hacking information. And then finally, click Login, and this will lead you to your program's annual report page. And if you didn't enter your login credentials correctly, you will be led to an error page, and we'll have to click back and try the login process again. Now, before you begin to enter data into CARE, please note that the preparation of data for the annual report has changed. Instead of receiving and printing a PDF of the annual report from SurveyMonkey, you'll be able to print off the annual report from the CARE tool itself. So once you log into your program's annual report page, you'll click the Print PDF icon in the upper right-hand corner of the page. After this page is printed, you can then use that PDF to gather your data before you do data entry. This will make the data entry easier. So let me repeat. You can print the form off on your program's annual report page and then use the PDF to aid in gathering data. Okay, so let's now review the best practice tips when using CARE. It's very important that you follow these best practice tips to ensure the data is entered and saved correctly. To review the CARE legend, you will click on the Need Help button in the upper left-hand corner of your program's annual report page. And that's the legend that will pop up. First, note that blue text on the annual report display currently saved values. Once you change the data, the blue text will also change. Second, it's highly recommended to work only in one section per edit and to save every 15 minutes. The CARE tool does not save automatically, so it's important that you save often. Third, after you save, be sure to review your saved data before continuing in the same section or in different sections. Fourth, and this is a little quirk, if you need to enter just 0 as a value for a given data entry point, you'll have to type out the letters to spell the letters Z-E-R-O, the word 0, and it will save as the number. So for example, if you enter the faculty, say a number of faculty as 0, there's no faculty, then you will type the word 0 in. But if you need to enter 10 or 100, then you'll type in the number. Just no entries can begin or just consist only of 0. Fifth, CARE was designed to directly type into the input fields. So it's designed to type directly into the input fields. We do not recommend you copy and paste info into CARE to ensure quality of data entry. There are also some security related points of interest for you to note in the legend. We'll take a look at it on the next slide. So first, even though your personalized security phrase is encrypted in our user base, or database, it's strongly recommended for it to be a password that is not used for any other authentication or application. And then second, obviously, never leave the screen open when not in use. Okay, so now we're going to review how to personalize your password. Shortly after this webinar, you will receive your login credentials. You'll be given a temporary password. After 1 week, this temporary password will expire, And if you do not personalize your password, you'll not be able to access your account without having to reset the password. So please make sure to create a new password once you first log into CARE. Okay, so to personalize your password, click on the Update Access Credential in the top middle portion of your program's annual report page, right there. In this section, you'll click on the orange pen icon that reads Personalized Security Phrase. To update, you'll click on this to update your password. Once again, when you update your password, you'll be prompted to follow the typical password recommendations, such as the passwords must be at least 9 characters long, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, etc. Just for security purpose, again, we recommend that this password should not be used for any other authentications. And then please note, make sure to update the password first before editing any data. If you update your password in the middle of data entry, that data entered will be lost. So once you click update your password and then refresh on the next page, you'll be logged out of CARE and will need to log back in with your new password. Okay, now to begin data entry. On your program's annual report page, you can click on any section bar you wish to enter data in. Once you click on a section, a drop-down menu of questions will appear. You'll click on the orange pen icon to view the drop-down or fill-in options, and then you could begin to enter data. Now, please pay close attention on how to save your data. Once again, CARE does not automatically save data when entered. Therefore, it is highly recommended that you save often. So when you first start to use CARE, I highly recommend that you save after every data entry until you get accustomed to the saving process. Then you could begin saving after every 10, 15 minutes. Okay, to save your data, please follow these steps. First, click on the Update Section button located at the bottom left-hand corner of each section panel, right there. You will then be taken to another page. On this page, please click the Edit More line in the middle of the page. You will then be taken back to your program's annual report page. Before clicking anything else on this page, you must click the refresh button next to the search bar on your screen. Or you can press the F5 or Control-R buttons on your keyboard. Once you click refresh, you'll still be on your program's annual report homepage. Click on the section you just edited to make sure that the data was saved correctly. Once again, it is very important that you follow these steps in order to save your data correctly. Now, once you save your data, you should review your data. Remember, most data saved on CARE will be public-facing on CAHME's advanced search tool. To review your data, the data that is published on the advanced search tool, you'll click on the View Your Published Program for Reference button located right above the Section 1 panel, right here. Once you click that line, a new window will open, and it will display your program's data page on CAHME search tool. Review the data on the search tool, and if correct, continue to enter data into CARE. But if incorrect, make sure you go back and edit that data on the CARE tool. So to make you aware of how CARE came into place, CAHME began developing the CARE tool beginning this spring and into the summer. As I mentioned earlier, we piloted the tool with a couple universities to ensure its readiness. Today, we will launch CARE, shortly after this webinar, you'll be receiving your login information. And in the coming months, you'll be completing your annual report data. I'll be monitoring your program's progress to ensure that your data is entered in a timely manner. Therefore, you'll be given periodic updates if your program so happens to fall behind in data entry. The annual report data will be due on November 15th. November 15th. If a program fails to submit in a timely manner, it will see late fees, and if not submitted at all, can have their accreditation or certification revoked. So please make sure to complete the annual report on time, and I'll help you make sure of it. So before we finish up, let me quickly review. During the presentation, we discussed the purpose of CAHME's annual report, how it aligns with CAHME's 5 core values. We discussed the major process and data changes in the annual report, most specifically CARE. I explained the specific steps on how to log into our new online tool, as well as how to enter, save, and review the data. And finally, we discussed the timeframes for submitting the annual report data and what that means for you as a program director. Now, just a quick reminder before we begin our Q&A. So this is your homework. In this first week after the CARE launch, please remember to first personalize your password. And once again, we reviewed how to change the password earlier in this presentation. These instructions will also be in the email included, including your login credentials for CARE. And then second, to print off your annual report. You'll print off the annual report PDF, once again, on your annual report homepage, and this will help aid in gathering data. At this time, I'll be answering any questions. If you have questions, please type them into the Zoom chat, and I can begin answering your questions one by one. Or if you prefer to email me, you can do so by emailing me at mpetruselli@cahme.org.
Michelle, thank you. It's Anthony, and appreciate everyone's attendance at this session. And there's been quite a few questions kind of coming through the Q&A. Some of which I think I've addressed directly to people, but there's a couple that I said let's kind of hold off because some of the questions require some explanation. So one of the questions that I got was around boundaries, Michelle. Like when people enter information, what if I accidentally entered that tuition and fee costs would be $400,000? Instead of $40,000. Are there boundaries kind of built into this tool?
Right. So once again, this is a first generation tool. So we're working to create a better process. At this time, we do not have those boundaries set in place. But in the future, if need be, we'll be adding that. And we'll be looking at your data manually at this point, but hopefully in the future, we'll be adding in those boundaries.
Thanks, Michelle. Another question came up around candidacy programs, and Michelle, I'm gonna address this one because we sat in on some of the discussions around that. So the question came: so why does candidacy programs need to enter information in here? And what the board decided in consultation with the candidacy committee and the Accreditation Council was that in order for a candidate program to advance to the self-study period, the candidacy committee wants to see at least 2 years worth of data. So if you're a candidate program, let me repeat that, if you're a candidate program and you're not ready to advance, then don't answer the questions. But if you're a candidate program and you're thinking, geez, I want to get ready to advance, let me go into this survey and enter the answers in here. And that way the candidacy committee will review that as part of their determination about whether to have you go forward. And the second reason to do this, if you're a candidate program, is this year we will make available on the search tool candidate programs. This year we will make available on the search tool candidate programs. So that's an added benefit. It is unbelievable. I did a Google search. We get about 1,500 hits a month to our website. And looking at the search tool is the primary area where a lot of people go to. So this is a nice little added benefit to candidate programs. Do you have to do it if you're a candidate program? No. If you want to advance, yes. If you want to be noticed on our website, Yes. So those are the reasons around that. Michelle, there was another question in here, and let me go to that. It was saving data seems a little bit cumbersome. Saving data seems a little bit cumbersome. And do you want to talk about some of the work we've done with the developer around that?
Yeah, so once again, it is a first generation tool. We're going to work with you to make the process easier. But we did find that was once accustomed to the saving process, it really did become fairly straightforward to save the data. Um, Once again, that's why I highly recommend to just let's practice on personalizing your password, practice saving there, and then honestly, with getting used to that, will kind of help you, get accustomed to the saving process. So,
We'd like to become perfect right out of the box, but we
yeah.
also wanted to make sure that the enemy of the good wasn't the perfect. So we're coming up with an approach that we think is significantly better than printing off a SurveyMonkey survey without any historical data in it. This gives you the historical data, and allows you to make some, notations on that, and then entering in. We realize that there's two parts that's a little cumbersome. One of them is the login process, where you're going to go, well, wait a minute, I got to put this code in and the CAPTCHA and everything. And I got to tell you, our developer, and all of you know this, is the data security issues out there are bizarre. And what he basically said to us is he fears that if we get a bot in there to kind of continue to hit over on our website, it could bring that area of the website down. So by putting CAPTCHA in and requiring you to enter data and not copy and paste it and put in the code for your program, we're going to slow that down. I have to tell you, between all of you, he wanted to make it a little more cumbersome than what it was now to log in. And we kind of went to an optimal level in doing that. So again, your patience on that, your feedback will be important as we kind of go forward. Maureen Jones asked a question that said, will the, let me go back to her question. Maureen, will there be a written guide on the website? There's quite a few steps to each one of these requirements. So Michelle, do you want to talk about the resources that are available?
Right. So the guide for like saving and such. Once again, once the email that you'll receive with your login credentials, it will have some information in there, the step-by-step process on how to personalize your password. Once again, we'll also have this this webinar with the PowerPoint that could help you step by step to go through that saving and review process and login process as well. When we do hope to eventually put on maybe even like a little video of how to save the data, because I know that will probably be an issue, but we will hope to get past that and help you make this process easier.
Yeah, the team, it's interesting. Michelle and Dana and a couple other folks, Melissa Cross and Victoria, are really kind of working on kind of little video snippets that hopefully will guide people along in that process and that could be embedded in the tool. Again, I don't want to overpromise though. I think right now, if you kind of see where we are, it'll help. We're going to try to put some guidelines up on that in the future as we go through. Eddie asked a question about the satisfaction data. And I think the bulleting kind of what programs have always been required to ask satisfaction data from their students, always. And your program has had to do it. The problem is that programs have different questions that they ask for satisfaction. The Standards Council, in coordination with the self-study group, bringing it to the Standards Council, had recommended specific wording on the satisfaction data. That wording then was reviewed by the Accreditation Council and then brought to the board for final approval. So we came up with standard wording on the satisfaction data. If you're currently asking satisfaction data that's not consistent with the wording, let me know. But you are required to ask satisfaction data every year. So, you know,
No, I was, Anthony, I was just saying that, COVID really messed with everybody. And so I'm concerned that a student's going to give us a 0 on 0 to 10. And it's because they're so angry about what COVID did to their learning experience. And is that really what we want on the public facing thing? I mean, we can look at it internally, and I think CAHME should look at it. But I thought it was a little bit unfair. I mean, we report everything. We don't suppress anything. We get 100% of students to fill out the survey. So, I'm going to get somebody that's unhappy with COVID. So,
yeah. And Eddie, I have the same, trying to ensure satisfaction of all the program directors with CAHME. We have the same kind of concerns that, COVID has created a higher level of frustration for everyone. Currently, right now, today, satisfaction data is not up on the public website. We will, of course, review the data before it goes up to see what it looks like. And I think if we notice that the data looks unreasonably low or something, we'll go back to the board and make some suggestions. The plan is to get a level of the satisfaction data up, though. So, but I hear your concerns, and I'll alert the board of that as well. Make the PowerPoint printable. Yes, the PowerPoint will be available to everyone, as well as the video afterwards. Stephen, thanks for your seconding Eddie's concerns. Nailan, you've got a great question. I have a question regarding the internal within university review of data inputted into CARE. Would it be possible to either provide access to reviewers to the CARE data that is inputted, or is it possible to print the CARE report and submit for review before the final submission? And the latter is the solution. So that's why we created that printable report. We spent a significant amount of time making it presentation ready. So once you print that report off, you can handwrite now, or if you want to edit a PDF, you can certainly do that, but you can handwrite the responses onto that, have that go up and down the chain, get the thumbs up, and enter it in, which is a significant difference than what we've had in the past. And that was specifically to respond to some of the questions that you've had. Let me answer the second point, which is, are we giving out multiple passwords per program? Are we giving out multiple passwords per program? And the answer is no. Why not? It's a first generation tool. Okay, so we've created just one username, one ID password for each program. Is that the best, Anthony? Well, no, obviously your assistant's going to be entering it in, or associate professor or assistant professor. That's why we recommend that username and that password be unique and not be something you use in other areas. So like with your banking account, don't use that username and ID, password there. This should be something unique to this area. Is it a flaw in the system? Is it a limitation? Yes, undeniably, yes. It would be great to have multiple people do it, but we just aren't able to do that with this first generation. There are limitations in this, we know that, but we think going through with this is a lot better than what existed before, and hope that you agree on that as well.
While you're thinking, I want to say that this is so much better. Thank you. Okay. I mean, come on, nothing's going to be perfect the first time we do this, but oh my God, I've done paper twice, a bunch of times, and I've done SurveyMonkey, and please, we are moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Sandra, I think I addressed your question when I answered Nailan's. Are you okay with that, Sandra Murdoch? You might be muted.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Are there other questions that we missed? I know there's a lot in there. I think we covered some. if there's any afterwards, Michelle is the person to contact. Her email there and her phone number's there, and she'll help you through the process. Really appreciate everyone's input into this. Eddie, you know, our goal is to cut down on accreditation fatigue, and you know, we hope that this moves there. We know it's not going to be perfect, and you know, it will be better next year, but we think this will be better than what you've had in the past. So, you know, again, appreciate everyone's time and patience as we kind of go forward. All right. Well, thank you all.
Good to meet you. No.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.